Hi everyone, welcome to another Radical Randy Activist production. Today's meme, Grow or Collapse, Unsustainable Capitalism. One of the most pervasive characteristics of our economic system is the obsession of virtually all politicians, corporate mass media, and pundits with economic growth at all costs. This is apparently expected to end all further discussion and blunt any objection to any controversial policy or environmentally destructive project. Why does capitalism require infinite growth on a finite planet? The answer is built into the very heart of the banking system.
What do the banks have to do with it?
The overwhelming majority of all the money in circulation in our economy and the world as a whole is created by the banks via the fractional reserve banking system. Since banks are only required to keep a small percentage of their deposits on hand, when you deposit money in a bank, the greater part of it is loaned out again. The full original deposit is still on the books, so the money lent out has been created out of thin air by computer entry. Most of this new money will subsequently be redeposited in one bank or another and relent, increasing the money supply even further with each round. Excessively rapid growth of the money supply can lead to inflation. Conversely, paying back loans erases that amount of money from the economy. If banks are reluctant to lend or demand for loans declines, as after the 2008 economic crash, more loans are being repaid than are being initiated, and the money supply contracts. This money shortage can lead to a recession.
So what if the banks create the money? How does that drive the need for growth?
When loans are made, only the principal is created, but when they're repaid, that principal plus the interest must be paid, also true for credit cards. Since for the economy as a whole, more money must be paid back than was lent out in the first place, the total money supply must increase.
So where does all this extra money come from?
As with most money, it is created by further loans. Thus, to pay the interest on previous loans, additional loans must be made. Of course, these new loans will themselves have interest charges, necessitating even more loans to create the money to pay their interest, and on ad infinitum. The need for ever-escalating loans is at the root of the obsession of capitalist leaders with promoting ever more growth and consumption. This unending economic growth spiral is required to create the demand for new loans and thereby increase the money supply. This Ponzi scheme can only continue as long as there is still room for growth. Financial deregulation allows even faster growth of the money supply, but just leads to speculative bubbles and another collapse.
Well, if this has been going on for centuries, why should it stop now?
For one thing, capitalism, like a cancer, has invaded almost all corners of the world through globalization and free trade, and has little left to consume. For another, many resources such as cheap, easily obtainable fossil fuels, basic metals, and the more exotic rare earth minerals are being used up. This depletion is what has been driving expensive and environmentally destructive deep-sea oil drilling and mining the Alberta tar sands gunk. But an even more ominous barrier to further growth looms.
Come on. What could be more drastic than running out of room and resources for growth?
The simple-minded pursuit of economic growth at all costs has resulted in desertification of agricultural land, along with deforestation and loss of wilderness habitats. However, the ever-accelerating use of fossil fuels that has propelled this economic expansion has led to potentially devastating global warming. Through heat waves, disappearing glaciers that feed major rivers, and erratic rainfall, this may well lead to widespread agricultural failures, threatening the viability of civilization itself, all in the service of an increasingly unstable system to further enrich the most privileged.
Well, aren't our government and business leaders dealing with these problems?
Rather than acknowledging the real problem, they seem more interested in stalling tactics and relying on public relations happy talk. Some capitalists try to evade admitting the end to limitless growth by taking refuge in the ultimate oxymoron, sustainable growth. Anything to keep their increasingly dysfunctional, growth-addicted system lurching along. But ecological collapse will willingly serve as judge, jury, and executioner of any civilization that cannot live in harmony with its environment. Want a better world tomorrow? Fight corporate rule today. To view other online videos in this series, just click on the Radical Randy Activist icon, or click subscribe, or search for Radical Randy Activist on YouTube.com. For web and news sites, books, DVDs, and much more on this and other economic and political topics for Alberta, Canada, the US, and the world, check out EdmontonActivistResources.org. And for more information on the banking and monetary system and resource depletion, check out the books, DVDs, websites, and online videos by the following authors. Also, watch the Radical Randy Activist corporate rule video.